Welcome, champs, to the Simply Successful podcast, your place for personal breakthroughs and the next level in your high performance. Today is all about how to be simply successful with the power of visualization. I have a special guest again for you, and an episode packed with tools, techniques, and everything you have to know on how to utilize this potential booster of visualization on your desired path to success. So for this episode to be packed with value and wisdom, I have another special guest for you, Mr. Danny Herzog-Braune. He is a visualization expert, so the first address for us to go to, and he has a pretty interesting vita. That's why I invited him to join us for this episode. But without talking too much before him, he is going to introduce himself in a bit. But first of all, welcome, Danny, and thanks for joining our podcast today.
Hello, Sue. Thanks for the invitation.
You're welcome. So for all the people that may not know you now, because Danny has his own podcast too. It's called Paper Wings, and he was a former military officer and is now a visualization expert and business coach. So would you please just introduce yourself to us and take us along a bit on that pretty interesting journey from the military to now being a business coach and doing this super creative technique?
I really would like to do that. And let's start. First of all, I was born in East Germany in 1981, and I was there at the high school. And of course, one of my favorite courses was arts. And so I started quite early with arts, and I also won some expeditions. And I made an apprenticeship in a PR and marketing agency. And then after I finished school, I started as a conscript in the German army. So directly after school, with 18 years, we still had conscription in the German army. I started there as a conscript, and first of all, I found military quite funny in the first 2 weeks. So if there was a line up, I was always laughing, and an officer was shouting at me why I'm laughing, because it was such a strange world from being a heavy metal fan, and then the next day a very bold haircut. So it was a very fast changing life, but I really enjoyed it because it was a completely different world from the change. But then I had a very interesting talk after 2 months at the army with my company leader, a major, who was directly back from Yugoslavia, and he came back from the war. And this was mainly about, he was talking about the genocide there. So a very, very tough topic. Mm-hmm. And I was confronted with the topic that after a long time of Cold War, military forces are needed because there was ongoing war, there was a genocide, and there was, in Germany we say no more for genocide, and we needed to stop that in the southeast of Europe. Mm-hmm. And so the first contact was quite funny because you have to stand, you have to be strict, you have to be disciplined, and this was completely different to my life before as a teenager. But now I found some meaning and sense in being being a soldier. And this man was so reflective and inspiring and level-headed. Mm-hmm. So I was really, he was like an idol, a role model. Yeah. And so I was interested in becoming an officer. Also compared, of course, of financial benefits, because after I won some exhibitions in my youth, and I was talking to very famous artists, and I get to know what they earn, mm-hmm. and I knew they are really talented, and they really reached the goal. and I knew, okay, they earn the same money as I will earn as a lieutenant in the army after 2 or 3 years. I decided to go the way as an officer career, which I'm very, very satisfied with because I had the opportunity to study state and social science in Munich. This was a study I really liked to do. And after that, I became a platoon leader, an armored engineer platoon leader, and I had to go to Afghanistan in 2008, where I was leading above 300 soldiers, also in combat situations. And this was, of course, tough time, but it was also self-fulfilling. Because I had really, really interesting projects like building up girls' schools, like educating military soldiers, policemen, stuff like that. But after that, after my duty there, I also decided I will definitely leave the army because if there will be children, I don't want to risk my life in such a risky situation anymore because my priority won't be my country; it will be my children. And after that, deputy commander position, I changed into public affairs and public relations officer, and I was talking about security policy for about 5 years in schools, in universities. With multiple fires, I make seminars to Berlin, to Brussels, locations like this. And then my duty time in the military after at all 14 years finished, and I started to found a marketing and PR agency, which was like 20 years ago my former wish. This was quite a tough time at the beginning, but I really learned quite fast where I can earn money. So it wasn't by making or creating or crafting websites. It was in consulting. I've done that quite well, I would say. And so another company leader, a CEO, asked me to become his in-house consultant. So not anymore as an external one. And so I started to consult internally in a company. Full time, and like it was before when I was officer. I don't like just to consult. I also like to execute, and so I took some responsibility, and people are starting to follow me. And so he asked me, Danny, would you like to become my marketing officer? And I said, oh yeah, great. And I started to become the marketing officer. I've done that quite well. And after a certain time he said, or a short time he said, okay, I would like to have you as our business unit head leader. And I started to become a business unit head leader, had done this for about 2 years. And then I would like to make the next career step. And he said that, no, Danny, the next career step is my position. This is already placed, so no chance. So there was no chance to become the CEO, but I wanted to become a CEO, and so I founded my new company, which is still where I am. It's Paper Wings Consulting, where I'm the CEO, and this is a management consultancy. And so it was mainly where I started about technique like design thinking, like agile management, agile facilitation, stuff like that. But I wanted to include my skills, my art skills. And so I added like flip chart courses and visual facilitation courses. And I'm a really big fan. In my Paper Wings podcast, I talk about management books, and I really love management books. What I don't like is that they are so lack of illustration. So why can't you make it beautiful or nice? And why does it look so boring? Because I really like economics. So I studied also Master of Business Administration. And in America, you'll find quite nice, quite well illustrated management books. But if you compare it to Germany, they are really, really boring. And so my mission was to make better books. And so I started also as an illustrator. And here I have like my book. And I started also to illustrate that, and this is still my mission. It's not paid so well because it's my mission, but I really like the books I illustrate. Yeah, and so this is where I am right now. So I'm working as a personal and business coach, and I'm very strong in that visualization part because for me, this is my personal, not just USP, it's my mission.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for that introduction. That is, like, again, so interesting because that yet shows again how powerful it is to sometimes go in a completely maybe opposite direction to just to experience like all facets of life. And maybe when you're like in the midst of it, like in the military, you maybe at one point thought, okay, like I miss like doing the odd work, but now with like your progress in career, you know exactly sometimes why life gives us that detours, right? And so now everything is like coming together perfectly, like your love for art and visualization, and as well all your experiences you got from the military and like leading people through really tough situations to be able to make decisions in tough environments, to have a clear mission, a clear goal. And yeah, I agree with you so much that sometimes the prejudgments people have of Germans are true, and that is for our books. Yeah, sometimes there are like, let's say, very conservative, but that's not how you move the masses, and that's what I see all the time. And there's this famous saying that a picture says more than 1,000 words, and that is it. And I think that is what makes your service and your consultancy like so special, because it has your USP on it, and it has the power of visualization, what we're talking about today. Because like a good visualization just moves people, and leadership can use that so well to create like emotions and that flow and that connection, which is really, really awesome. But if someone like maybe never heard of visualization before, can you paint like a more clear picture of what visualization actually is, or what a process looks like when you come into a company and you help them gain clarity by visualization?
Yeah, let me take you to also to a journey which is good to that question, because where does it start? Because you really sum it up very well, but now it's a point where all the lines find together. So in my youth, my most favorite film was with Michael J. Fox, was called The Secret of My Success. And this is where he just goes into a company by some tricks of his uncle or step uncle, stuff like that. And he was there in an office, and he was really ambitious working. And all of his office was full of pictures of lorries, transportation maps, stuff like that. And I really liked the picture he was pointing out there. There was always information, but it was visualized. And this film is from the 80s. And then in the military, it was the same. That, for example, in my officer career at the Office Academy in Dresden, you learned how to make your combat headquarter. So your combat headquarter is filled up with information and visualization. And this is also a very, very important part, because when I was working in a NATO headquarter in Mazar-e-Sharif, so you have so many nations there, and they are all not non-native speakers in English, for example. But what they all use are tactical signs, which are elements which are conducted by NATO. So, for example, a sign of a tank. Of course, you don't draw a tank there in a detail. Yeah. So there are also tactical signs, and everybody's using them. And if you enter a headquarter like this, you will gain a complete overview of all tactical information, like personnel, like material, like areas. And this is like combined military and also business, where you see, okay, all the information you need for project, etc., you can see. And this is so strong because it's so much stronger
Yeah.
than words. If you what we learned in the military is what's called Lagevortrag zur Unterrichtung. So it means a briefing, a tactical briefing. So, and it has to be very fast. And you have to have all the information for your superior. So, and this is what you learn there as a process. And what I missed in civil companies and business companies is that room. If you take a look, for example, at lean management, it's called Obeya. So the Japanese implemented that for a car. So it was the first hybrid car of Toyota, and average production time or planning time was 3 years. And they said, okay, we want to make that faster. And they reduced it by making up this Obeya, this room where you have all the information. So every person who needs some information a bit about that car, the engineers, the designers, the constructors, you name it, they can enter the room and get the information. And this is what I'm always missing. So when I was a unit head, business unit head, I had to lead different professions, like let's say a developer, a marketing officer, a designer, a call center agent, somebody who's working this out and implementing the techniques. So they all use German language, they use different terms, because one was studying IT, the other one was studying marketing. So, and how can I get these different experts to speak the same language? And so I made up a room with all the information for different projects that they can rely on the same information and data.
Wow, that's mind-blowing. I never thought of it like that, but yeah, you're right. So visualization is kind of like the common world language we are all able to seek, or at least like perceive in the same way, because you're so right. Like communication is a whole nother topic we could have probably talked hours for, like especially the term of miscommunication in companies or wherever people just meet. And visualization will really, how I understand it now, take a lot of like the potential for miscommunication, or like so we are like able to really like even save time, because we're quicker, I guess, on the same point of view, and so able to move from that, because that's what I see a lot, like in companies or even like in sports clubs, that there's a lot of meetings, ongoing meetings, like the calendars are like full with meetings, and it's so rare that people really get like efficiently to like a common point of view. And so we could like reduce all that chatter and make meetings like way more effective when we use visualization to start with, right?
So what I have done is taking the key elements, what is the key message from this keynote, and I visualized it. So with people, so for example, Kim, one of the founders of the New Work Society, he was talking about an emotional moment when his daughter was born, and he said, okay, I want to make something with sense and meaning. And everybody was captured by that emotion, and I just draw him, his face, his emotional face with this baby in his arms, and everybody, I'm still get here bumblebee, or how's it called, I don't know, goosebumps, because of the moment, because it's the emotion, and this is what you link to, and people are linked to pictures and to emotions, and if you want to remember something, this is so strong. And so on every session I made a flip chart with the visual key elements and key quotes. And after 2 days of a lot of information, a lot of inspiration, you if I would ask you, you would say, I remember 3 things, although so like 3% of all. But if you see the flip charts again and the visual summaries, you will say, oh, yeah, I remember Kim, what the day before, he talked about his daughter. And then, Susanna was talking about effectuation. And now I remember you draw the 2 bags and where we pull out the candies. And now you have links. And this is, if you have, and just brought it up to a wall. So everybody can see it all the time. So, and what you make is like you save it on, you have a visual saving on your mind, and you can remember because it's linked with emotions, with
Yeah.
colors, and you still have the words and the feelings in your
Yeah, that's
background.
so powerful, and I love it because I remember like starting my work, and I have a big focus on emotional leadership and using emotions as your driving force on your design path. And I remember like being really like awkwardly looked at, like, she, okay, what is she doing? Like, okay, get out of here, like we're doing business. Yeah. But I really love to see that more and more of these techniques and this knowledge and just this experience gets to people, because I think that's what we do with work, like that. We just show through experience. And you're absolutely right, like our brain remembers experiences, emotions, and pictures. And this is where I think, like, when you look into the businesses now, companies have such a hard time, like, actually creating that emotional bond with their employees, and like hooking them up to their vision. And you see still all those old school techniques like PowerPoint presentations loaded with diagrams and numbers and facts. And of course, like, they have their value, but like we both know, like, one, you don't remember, and both, it doesn't affect you, like you don't connect to that. Like, you see the numbers, but actually what does it have to you with you and your purpose and your, you said it, like sense in life and meaning and your tasks. So visualization is like so powerful. But do you have maybe another example, because you're a personal coach as well, where you had like an epiphany or you a breakthrough moment from a client that was in a personal coaching?
Yeah, so um, I call it systemic drawing. What I'll do in the background. So if I want to clarify my mission as a coach, um, I yeah, I start to draw. So of
Mm-hmm.
course I take notes, but let's talk about relationship. Um, and you talk me, okay, I have a little bit trouble of my best friend and with my mom, and now I fall in love into that new guy. And what I pay is I like just little paintings, and I just make like effect lines, so, or how strong they
Mm-hmm.
are, so to get to know
Oh
what's
yeah.
the connection. Or you say, so I'm so dizzy and foggy in my head, and I just make a big bubble, and I make just some
Oh,
strong.
right.
And the most important point now is, this is not about art. It's not about, it has to be
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. It's about um, seeing or illustrating how it feels like. And when I show the drawings, my clients say, "Danny, this is like it's in my head. Can I have it?" And say, "Okay, this is just a sketch. So sure you can have." So because now
Yeah.
it's getting clear. So the
Mm-hmm.
fog is blown away, and I say, "Okay, this is really like feels like." And but can you move this person a little bit more away, because I
Mm-hmm.
feel more distant, like a
Yeah.
systemic stand up, stuff like that. And by just making it visual, it is getting so strong. Or like also in a systemic stand up, it's not just drawing, it's like, how do you
Mm-hmm.
position elements? So like now I have here, like you can see my can of pencils of colorful, and I say, okay, just choose who's your dad, who's your mom, lay it or stand it or lay it, and how close are they
Mm-hmm.
together, how far away, things like that. And what is happening is that something which is quite complex, or it isn't complex, but it's not
It's not
visualized,
clear,
it's
yeah.
not clear. And by just making it visual, you
Mm-hmm.
can arrange it, in a way of distance, in a in a way of color. Let's take another example. When I had my test, I had to show for my exam as a becoming a personal business coach. My final exam was in practice. I take some, how is it called, colorful clays, and
Mm-hmm.
it was about diet. So how
Okay.
do you feel about diet?
Don't
and
eat the
just
clay.
and now take
Would be
the
a good
clay, the
idea.
color. Yeah, don't eat that. No, she
Oh,
formed, she shaped a donut. No, no, I'm joking. But really, she used
yeah.
the clay about her feelings, and every color was a feeling. And when I said, okay, after all the process and we sorted, arranged it, how do you feel now? And this was much more clearer and sorted. And now she could name every feeling with a color, and she could say, okay, this is bigger, this is smaller. And this is like, also, it's not visualizing
Mm-hmm.
data, which is quite easy, but
Mm-hmm.
visualizing emotions.
Yeah.
This is so powerful that you say, okay, now I know if my mom says, oh, this
Mm-hmm.
skirt is quite tight,
Yeah.
what is the effect of it, and what is it, and this is like angry green, this is angry green, and I hate the feeling, because my mom always said eat more, and which says
Uh-huh.
the skirt is too
Yeah.
tight, so stuff like that. Or do you say orange is the feeling like summer, and I really want to wear a bikini, and I will feel really happy orange if I achieve a goal,
Yeah.
for
Wow,
example.
that's powerful. And I think even you're right, like with all that, when it goes to interrelationships, like it's on another level because there comes in our trauma bonds and all that stuff, like how we've raised and how we are connected to people, and it can get very dizzy. So that's
Yeah,
a powerful tool to actually um, help people to think straight or to reorganize their mind and their life when they come to a certain point where they recognize, okay, at least I'm now aware that I repeat certain patterns over and over again, that I do harmful things to myself or people around, and I know that I have to stop or change, but I don't know how. And when you're involved in it with yourself, it's sometimes hard to really get it entangled. So it's very good to have a mentor or a coach that helps you really like entangle it and structure it. And I think visualization is like such a great tool to bring it like out of your head to the paper. And I do love journaling, but I think like visualization is next level because you could even like explain it again with that universal language, like when you say like you draw something in orange, like everyone can relate that orange is connected to the sun or to a certain feeling, and you can again like show an understanding. This is like really powerful. And I can imagine, do you things like that in companies too? Because I know a lot of like, even in Germany, traditional companies, oftentimes we have the struggle of that it is like run by families, like running by families. And, you know, in every family, there are some conflicts which you may bring to the workplace. So I can figure or imagine that and this is another great way to use visualization to entangle all that.
yeah, exactly. So I remember a company I was working for as a consultant, where you have the senior CEO and the junior CEO, and you have a lot of role conflicts. So if you are father, son, brother,
Mm-hmm.
you are CEO, you are managing partner, you are partner, you are superior, you are such to. And if you are in a conflict with the person, your family part, um, you are pulling on a rope
Mm-hmm.
from different roles. So, and there are many responsibility conflicts and roles. So, in a family, for example, in the family part, you're the son. In the business part, you're
Mm-hmm.
even managing
Yeah.
partner. So on the same level, and and in discussions which become emotionally, you
Mm-hmm.
are not very neutral. And this is so important that I say, okay, take your head.
Yeah.
Which head of do you? What's
Yeah.
your head now? Is it the CEO head? Is it the
Mm-hmm.
partner head? Is it the son head? Because if you're in a meeting with other, let's say, colleagues
Yeah.
which are not from the family, uh,
Mm-hmm.
it is getting dizzy for them, and it's so what kind of conflict are we talking now? Are we talking about the marketing budget or about
Dinner.
the last family
Yeah.
family dinner? Yeah. So and this is what, let's say, okay, let's take the green net, or
Yeah.
let's take here my pencils. Okay, green is for being a partner, purple is
Mm-hmm.
being husband, red
Mm-hmm.
is being a marketing officer. So
Yeah.
which point are you talking about? There's also from De Bono a good technique called six hat. So, but this is so important to make visually what in which level on which layer are we
Mm-hmm.
working right now, in which role, and to be sure, okay, it's not too emotionally, and it's getting more neutral
Yeah.
and objective. Let's
Yeah,
say.
that's great. And I think even to start with the awareness, I think sometimes people don't even know how they operate or how many roles they take on or take over. And like it is like with everything, as I did say, like if you know better, you can do better. So just like learning to know you as a person and you as a company leader, getting to know you better and how you function and work and visualize that is, I think, very like easy to remember and to get impregnated into your belief system and into your behaviors. Wow, that's amazing. But you just said it's not about art or that it has to be beautiful because I'll figure probably we talked about a lot about the great values and benefits of visualization. But if I'm not, especially the podcast is for men, if I'm not like the most equipped or talented in art or drawing, do you have any tips or tricks like how a visualization process can happen anyways? Like you talked about sketches or maybe you can use pictures or I don't know, do you have like techniques without drawing that can help with visualization?
Yeah. For example, tomorrow will be here a flip chart course in my rooms, and what I say everybody can
Okay.
draw, everybody can paint, because it's a skill. It's a skill
Mm-hmm.
where we started in our youth. So nobody was afraid of taking a pen and just drawing or with
Yeah,
chalk
right.
on the street. So there was no being afraid.
Mm-hmm.
It can be not nice. So what I'm confronted with in companies is that they are too shy to go to the flip chart because it could look not nice. And this is just now you can
Yeah.
peep. This is
The
just
fear
crap.
of
Let's say.
judgment.
Um, why? Because it's yeah, because it's not about making it art. It make to be
Mm-hmm.
recognizable, to be make it seeable, to gain to let you know what is it about. And what I start with is just working with basic shapes, and this is the same I
Mm-hmm.
work on, or every artist is doing it. Like Da Vinci
Mm-hmm.
started with basic shapes, so like a circle for a head, like a square for the chest,
Mm-hmm.
or like pillars for the legs, so or circles for the knees. So what I teach is just start with basic shapes. Um, if you want to drive a car, it's like two
Mm-hmm.
squares and two circles. And
Yeah, right.
everybody will see, okay, this is a car. It's not making a model for Ferrari Testarossa. This is not a goal. So, and if you start with like let's say a smiley, this is just
Mm-hmm.
circle, point, point, line. That's it. And now you have already gained what you wanted to do. So you can express
Yeah.
emotions with simple shapes and objects. And this is where I start. And um, sometimes as a for my pre-sales, I'm not happy with my flip chart course, because after one day I teach them so much that they say, okay, fine,
Mm-hmm.
Daddy, that's it. I can do it right now. But this is the nice feeling. They will leave and say, good, I have
Yeah.
so much now in my toolbox where I can go. Uh, Starting from basic elements like using the right colors, using just basic shapes, and
Mm-hmm.
how to organize a flip chart. So it's like we learn in making website. You have an heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, and how strong is the
Yeah.
stroke line, stuff like that. And this is so basic. This is so easy. And if you just um, take these hints, these advices, you will so fastly reach really nice flip chart, really nice drawings that will be
Yeah,
very
that's
effective in
perfect.
your daily
But
life.
I can imagine, especially like high performers, like peak performers, tend to be perfectionists. So they probably struggle with that approach that it has to be simple or it can be simple, I guess. But yeah, you're so right. Like my daughter, she turned 6 now, and she's like absolutely into nature and animals. And she was so frustrating, like drawing animals, and I just got her that book, and you're right, like they're basically just like break down all the animals into like triangles and rectangles and pillars and circles. So yeah, maybe it's good sometimes to have someone to remind you that it should be simple again, even in high positions.
Uh, yeah, and this is, you just mentioned the most important point,
Yeah.
because it's about reducing complexity. It's about reducing complexity. So, for example, you're in sports.
Mm-hmm.
Just take
Yeah.
maneuvers from football or soccer, or it's just
Circles.
some
Yeah.
crosses, some arrows, and you see you do see strategies just on a sheet of
You're
paper
right.
with
Yeah.
some lines and strokes. But
Yeah.
there's a whole maneuver, like in football,
Mm-hmm.
for example, which is a very complex game. But illustrating it with some strokes, arrows, and the sketch. Yeah, this is reducing complexity and makes it quite visible and easy for
Yeah,
all
that
around.
is so powerful. But we've talked about a lot like now about like the coaching process and visualizing in companies and for personal conflicts. I personally love to use visualization in a way that I do mental rehearsals, and especially when I have like my athletes doing like the bobsled, they're mentally rehearse the course of maybe let's say Salt Lake City. So they mentally rehearse driving down there a million times. So it really gets like saturated into your brain, and it gets saturated into your subconsciousness, and it is kind of like become an automatic behavior. um what do you suggest like for a visualization process when someone wants to use it like that, visualizing their goals? Like maybe do you have a vision board, or do you use like those techniques like meditation or visualization yourself?
Yeah, yeah. So I on my own have two vision boards. So one is in my office behind me, and one is on my Miro board,
Yeah.
because this is more flexible, and I have also on my device. And this reminds me always on my goals. Let's take an example. Last year I had a coaching on my own for my new office, because now I'm approximately 1 year in my office. But I was looking for, because my wife threw me out of my working office. She said, "Okay, get your own office. This is my stitching room." No, because I had so many
Utensils and
toys and
everything, yeah.
pens, and and I will, yeah, and I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
know what is the need, or what are my needs for my office. And in the coaching process, my coach asked me, "Okay, Danny, what do you see?" And I said, "Okay, I see a Buddha statue," because this is also like like a key visual to stay calm, to
Mm-hmm.
relax, to find peace. So I knew I want to have a statue for, yeah, Buddha statue for peace.
Mm-hmm.
And then I knew I want to have a gong. I
I
don't know
guess
if
so,
it's the
yeah.
same word in English, because to make sure, okay, now it's starting time and now it's finishing time,
Mm-hmm.
like a, yeah, sound signal for relax and for working time. And so I started to create elements I wanted to have. And just now, on a rational way, you won't start with a Buddha statue. Let's say you would start with a laptop,
Mm-hmm.
but this was the first on my mind. And I need to express it, to fix it on a sheet of paper or somewhere. But I know, okay, now it's out. And now it's so, say, check. You have a Buddha statue. Let's come to the next.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to have a really huge table. I want to have a huge table because my workplace space is not very well sorted and arranged, and I need all the space to have all, like here I have a lot of pens, I have books, I have all the stuff around. I need a big table. and also for my technique. And when I knew I wanted to have a big table and 2 chairs for my coaching. So, and by creating this visualization, yeah, I get a practical hint where I want to go. And the next thing was my imagination. So I'm living here in Würzburg, and on a hill. It's called Skyline Hill. There was American barracks. The Americans left the barracks, and now it's a university area. And they had a really nice building, very top modern, top of the notch, and it's called Skyline Hill. And I knew this was my goal, where I want to go. And this is on my board. I said, once there will be a time, I want to go there. On the way, so I was heading to save money for the equipment, and I was really focused on that goal. On the way, I saw, okay, this is not good for me because it's all full of glass, and you can see like 3 kilometers away what's happening in the office. And said, okay, your room is not always tidy, and if you have emotional expressings in your coaching and everybody could see it, it's also not good. So I knew, okay, this building was my aim because it's modern, it's nice, and it's on the skyline. So this was my goal. But on a practical way, it wasn't perfect because it doesn't match my needs. But it was so important to have a focus of a goal, because now in my office I'm perfect. So I'm like here I'm sitting now in my storage room and podcast room, and this is perfect. It's not tidy at all, but it's perfect for podcasting and storing stuff. And in my second room, there's my beautiful office coaching practice, which is very often very tidy, especially if I have guests. And there's all the equipment, my Metaplan boards, my whiteboards, yeah. And so, but by visualizing it and by expressing it, I had I knew where I want to go. And then there was a time when I take a look at different rooms, offices to rent them. I knew, okay, because I was clear what I need, I knew this is perfect.
That's amazing. And I mean, like, everything is created twice, once in the mind and then in the real world. And I remember when I first like come up with the idea of visualization, like today, thank God it is more and more like accepted, but everyone was like, no, like we don't waste time like for that, we just do. And I'm like, okay, but what are we doing? Like, if we don't visualize first where we even go, like, are you driving your car without like putting any like coordinates in the navigation system? That's interesting. You probably run in circles but going nowhere. So that is absolutely fabulous. And having that vision board, I have it too. And sometimes just surrender of the how, but just know the destination is powerful too. And I had that beautiful moment last year of September. I have the Empire State Building, a specific picture of it on my vision board for quite a while. And last September, I was heading out with friends in New York, and we wanted to have like something to eat just to get night out, and we ended on that rooftop bar. And it was super crowded, and they said there's one table left. And we're like, okay, fine. Like, we're lucky we got a table like on a Friday night in Manhattan, right? So whatever it is, just give it to us. And she brings that out to the rooftop bar onto that table. And I am sitting down and looking up from my table, and I was like, oh my freaking God. And I did a picture immediately because it was the exact same picture of the Empire State Building, me sitting on that rooftop bar. And I was like, okay, it's getting real. And like, those are the moments that are like so special. And that's why I'm a big fan of a vision board. Yes, too.
Yeah, great. Where
Absolutely.
attention goes, energy goes. So if you have the vision board and you direct your attention to it and to the goal, your energy will go there
Absolutely.
and you will reach your goal.
That was like packed with a lot about visualization. Is there anything you would say we missed on the part, or you wanted to say about visualization, or why it is so special? Because before I get to my closing question.
Yeah, first of all, just start. Don't hesitate. Just take a pen, take a sheet of paper, start small, don't be afraid, and don't be anxious. So this is so important. And then just integrate it into your daily work. So just leave your goddamn
Yeah.
PowerPoint slides, which you invested too much time in just creating, being perfect, and it's not needed at all. Like Steve Jobs always started with sketches, not with PowerPoint. Go to the flip chart, start with sketches, and later on the last Pareto 20%, you can go to PowerPoint, but not at the beginning. Just start doing it. It is so encouraging also for the others to integrate. It will be so helpful.
Yeah, that's
Just
wonderful.
start. Go
And
for
even
it.
like in this digital DNA, like having something physical again, like with pen and paper is a whole experience for your own brain. But I think like even you create a whole experience probably for your team, creating it together, like, as an event, like even like designing a flip chart or visualizing a meeting on it, and you engage everyone into it, is like a whole nother level than just you being like a teacher in front and like praying over your PowerPoint presentation.
And yeah, and just to add it, because just in the morning I had a big biotech company clarification of an order who asked me to train their visual facilitators for hybrid meetings. And now we are going for hybrid remote meetings, but not using all this IT stuff, just taking a camera
Yeah.
and drawing pictures on your sheet of paper at your home office, because it will be a personal statement. Times New Roman in 12
Yeah.
points has everybody, or Arial. So this is this font everybody's using. But if you draw it with your own handwriting, this is an individual note everybody will remember, because
Yeah.
it's your personal handwriting. And this is so special that it will be saved. And this is also
Yeah, that is
remembrance of information.
beautiful. Thank you so much. To sum up that beautiful episode, I always ask my interview guest to share their point of view about success. So I would like for you to finish that sentence. Success to me is ...
Success to me is living your dream, not to work anymore because of the flow feeling you'll have at work, working in your strength and interests, and harmonizing
Wow,
work and
that's
private
beautiful.
career.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing all your wisdoms and insights on that beautiful topic of visualization and business development today with us. I'm gonna put anything about Danny in the show notes, so you can find more about him, his books, his courses, and of course his social media platforms. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Sue. It was a big
Bye.
pleasure. Bye.